In a grand old house at the edge of the city, there lived a woman whose beauty could silence a room. Her name was Clara Voss, a face that once graced magazines, a name whispered with envy, and a soul wrapped in vanity. But like all things perfect, her reflection was only surface deep. In the center of her bedroom stood an enormous mirror, silver-framed, ancient, and rumored to be enchanted. It had belonged to her grandmother, who once said, "This mirror doesn't just show beauty, it shows truth." Clara never cared for the second part. Every morning she'd stand before it, admiring every curve, every line, every glance, and every night she'd stare again, terrified of the faintest wrinkle, the slightest imperfection. One night, she found a line on her cheek, a tiny one, barely visible, but to her, it was betrayal. She screamed, "No, I will not fade, I will not grow old." In her fury, she struck the mirror with a perfume bottle. It shattered, the sound echoing like thunder through the silent mansion. Glass rained across the floor, splitting her reflection into 1,000 fragments. Clara stood shaking, her heart pounding, her eyes wild. Then she saw it in one shard by her feet, a strange flicker. It wasn't her reflection, it was a memory, a little girl herself, standing on a stage, reciting a poem. Her mother smiled proudly in the audience. Then Clara heard her own childish voice say, "I want everyone to see me, Mama. I want them all to love me." The image faded. Clara gasped, stepping back. What was that? Another piece shimmered near her dresser. She knelt and picked it up carefully. Inside it, she saw herself years later, a teenage girl pushing her best friend away. Her friend cried, "You've changed, Clara. You care more about being seen than being kind." The Clara in the memory had laughed cruelly and the shard went dark. She dropped it, trembling. "I didn't mean it," she whispered. But the house gave no answer, only the soft ticking of an old clock. She turned, and dozens of shards now glowed faintly, each whispering like voices trapped behind glass. Clara moved toward another piece. In it, she saw herself years later sitting with a man, her husband, Daniel. He held her hand. "Clara, I don't care about the fame, I just miss you." And she, cold and distant, replied, "Maybe you should marry the girl I used to be." Then she walked away. The shard cracked again, and a single tear slid down Clara's cheek. The room grew colder. Wind howled through the open window. The broken shards began to hum softly like a song made of memories. Then, from somewhere deep in the mirror's remains, a whisper came, a voice both tender and terrifying. "You looked so long for beauty outside, you forgot the one within." Clara clutched her head. "Stop it. I don't want to see any more." But the mirror had waited too long to be silenced. The next vision hit her like lightning. She was back in the same mansion, but years ago a small child cried in another room. It was her daughter, a little girl with golden curls, calling, "Mummy, come play with me." But Clara, sitting before her mirror, was too busy putting on makeup for a TV interview. She said, "Not now, darling. Mummy has to be perfect." The vision ended with the sound of the child's sobs. Clara fell to her knees, tears blurring her sight. Her makeup streaked down her face for the first time. She didn't care. Another shard rolled toward her foot. In it, she saw black, a funeral. Rain poured. Her husband stood by a small grave, holding a stuffed bear. Clara realized it was their daughter's grave. Her reflection whispered, "She was waiting for you that night. But you never came." Clara screamed, "No, no, that's not true. That can't be true." But deep inside, she remembered the night her daughter was sick. She'd left for an award ceremony. The next morning, it was too late. The shards now surrounded her, glowing brighter and brighter. Each one reflected a different version of her, laughing, lying, crying, pretending. All the faces she'd worn, all the truths she'd denied. Clara covered her face, sobbing, "I can't look anymore, please." The mirror's voice whispered again, gentle this time, "The only way to heal is to see yourself fully." One shard remained, the largest in the center of the floor. Clara crawled toward it, trembling. In it, she saw not the glamorous woman she once was, but a tired, broken woman, sitting in darkness, surrounded by pieces of her own reflection. And behind her, the faint silhouette of her daughter, smiling softly. "It's okay, Mom. You can stop pretending now." Clara reached for the shard, and for the first time she didn't look away. The shards began to glow brighter, then lifted slowly into the air, spinning around her like silver leaves in the wind. They reassembled into a single mirror, but its surface was no longer perfect. It shimmered like water, alive, real. Clara looked in it, and this time, she saw everything, the pain, the loss, the love she had buried beneath pride. She smiled weakly through her tears, and the mirror whispered, "Now you are truly beautiful." When morning came, the storm had passed. The mirror stood whole again, but its reflection was softer, warmer. Clara walked outside, the first rays of sunlight touching her face. For the first time in years, she didn't wear makeup. Her wrinkles were visible, her eyes tired, but her heart alive. She picked a single rose from the garden and whispered, "For you, my little one." Years later, a young couple moved into the mansion. They found the old mirror, dusty but strangely beautiful. When the young woman looked into it, she gasped. For just a second, She saw another face, a smiling older woman standing beside a little girl, hand in hand. Then the image faded. The young woman turned to her husband. "Did you see that?" He shook his head. She smiled softly. "Maybe it's just the light," but deep within the mirror, a faint voice whispered, "Every truth deserves to be seen before it fades." The mirror had been broken, but so was she, and sometimes you must shatter before you can truly reflect. The truth we avoid often holds the reflection we most need to face. Thanks so much for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that make you think. We'll see you in the next one.